At the end of Trader Trail, just north of town. Bench racing with friends, that's how we get down. If it's dirt track stories you're looking for, then tune right in. This is Talking with Trader. Let's begin. All cars on the chain.
Welcome to Talking with Trader. Once again, my name is Justin. I'm here with my dad, Trader Mike, and this week's guest, Brandon Hunter. Thanks for joining us, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we'll start out just like we started out with Dad, and I'll ask you about the number. Your number was inherited from your dad and your grandpa, but can you tell us about the number quarter?
It originally came from Grandpa's story. I got Grandpa crashed his car, and I guess people in the stands got together and a bunch of coins, and that's how the quarter originally started out with. That's where he just got the number.
That was a lot of change.
A lot of change.
But it did it.
Yeah.
Got him going.
So then your dad raced, and he was quarter, and your uncle was a half.
Yes.
So your whole family has been quarter and a half.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
So how many generations so far?
There's
Was your dad, your grandpa the first?
Yep, Grandpa, my dad, my uncle, me, Zane, and Ethan. 5 there.
And
4
then
or 5.
now you've got your sister.
Now you're
and
sister.
Did your sister drive quarter too?
she
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yep.
she run a quarter.
And now
And
her
her daughter.
Yep.
And your
sons.
Yep.
sons are going to be racing
Yeah.
for long. Wow.
So speaking of your sons, Brodix is 7
Mhm.
and Briggs is 6.
Mhm.
What are they racing?
There's go-karts right now.
Is Briggs in a go-kart now too?
He's not in the fully raced one. He's in their Radio Flyer 24-volt one.
I thought so.
That looked like fun too, though.
Yeah.
Brodix is already winning races.
Yeah. he's pretty pumped. He takes it serious.
I've watched him a few times. He studies everybody. He
Very.
watches. He's serious about it.
Very serious.
How long did it take him to get his first win?
Maybe the third night or fourth night out, maybe.
Okay, you got all these checks all the way around your shop. Your bathroom's decorated with checks.
Yeah.
So all these checks are big feature wins.
Mm-hmm.
So how many big features do you think you've won?
Honestly, I really don't know.
You remember the first one?
I do remember the first one. I was 11,
11 years.
and it was at Tri-State.
Is that in a mini stock?
It was in stocking the
Truck.
Mexican truck we had. I do remember that one very vaguely against Barry Peters and like Rick Keefe and all them guys.
Back then, those
Yeah,
guys.
those are the fast guys.
Yeah, they were the top of the line.
Yeah.
They were fast. They had
Yeah.
them, especially those two,
Yeah.
Barry and Rick.
Yep.
They had some secrets.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't work, did they?
We're just lucky.
What about championships? How many championships?
Um,
Wild guess.
I'm gonna say probably 4 because I won 2 in 1 year.
Okay. And you've driven. What did you win championships in?
Super stock, A mod, mini stock. That's about it really.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And you've driven. You mentioned mini stock, super stock. You've driven late models, modifieds. You've driven everything, but you told me before that late models your favorite. Why is late model your favorite?
It's just, I mean, I guess adrenaline. It's a lot faster. Everything's just faster. I guess you can say it's just more fun.
I was always told it was like driving a big go-kart
That's exactly what it is. It's a big go kart, and it's just
on
fun.
big tires.
I've never driven one, but I sure like driving one on a video game. About the best I can do.
Yeah.
So how many, when we got here, you said you've done 4 cars since the last time we visited you.
Yeah.
How many cars do you think you do average a year? Body-wise, well, everything, anything.
Average probably 15 to 20 a year.
15, wow, that's a lot. And the bodies, like this one sitting over here, how long did it take you to do a body? So you have templates, most of the templates.
If we don't have sports and the kids and all the other,
Yeah, that stuff comes first.
family stuff comes first. It's usually I can probably knock one out complete inside and out in 4 nights,
We're not.
and that's after work.
Right.
If you just did this, how long would it take you to do a body?
I could probably cut it down 2 days, maybe. Probably
quick.
8-hour days.
Speaking of that, you're working a full-time job. You have 2 sons that play sports, and you're doing that. You're building cars. How do you manage your time?
I don't know. That's a $1 million question. I can't answer that one. I've had several people ask me, and I said honestly, I don't know. And a lot of people think I do this full time, but
Right, right.
it looks like it, but I don't.
Yeah,
I wish I could.
it would be nice.
Yeah.
100% full racing. You could add different things to your shop, and
Yeah.
So I was thinking on the way here about all the guys that you race with. You kind of have this group of, I guess, friends. I wouldn't say teammates, but friends. You race with some fast guys. Like you race with H, his car's sitting here, and then obviously Dale and Hollywood. Like, what's it like having every night you're competing? It's usually you guys at the front every night. You're just competing with your friends.
right, it's some tough competition.
It's very tough, and it's you race them hard, but you also race them clean because you're their
Right.
friends. But
Oh yeah,
because I mean, at the end of the day, it ain't cheap no more. But
Right.
it's a lot of work, and anymore, y'all know, you got kids, and you got sports. It's hard to get, and then working on everybody else in between. It's tough, but I mean, them guys, they respect you. That's the thing. Your friends, you've been friends for so long,
oh yeah. Yep.
they'll respect you and race you clean.
You ever move one of them out of the way for a win?
Man, I mean,
No
I'm not
comment,
like I
no
bump a
comment.
few, but hey,
I'm sure you've been moved.
I mean, I have, but it's just, I mean, I know it's part of
Yeah,
it.
it's part of it.
You said you drive them clean, but because they're your friends. But I think that's something you're known for, driving clean, and that's why other people let you drive their cars so much. Have you ever felt like you needed to drive dirty?
Um, Not really. I mean, there's been a couple of times that there's some stuff happened and I got mad, but once I got back,
Calm
calm
back
myself
down.
back down, control, and just went on, not worry about it. Just
So, Dad and I have been in multiple fights at the racetrack.
He would bring that up, wouldn't
Not big like UFC fights or anything, but we've had our share of problems with other people. I've never heard of you having any kind of altercation like that.
he? He had his grandma took care of it
yeah,
years ago.
Didn't let that stuff happen, huh?
yeah.
Right.
No, we try not to, just because at the end of the day, like I said, again, you got kids looking around, kids looking up to you, you got family,
good.
you got sponsors, and you got it don't really do no good.
Right.
You
In
get
the long
mad,
run,
long run,
let
you
it
gotta let it
go.
go.
And that's the reason you have so many fans and sponsors and stuff. I think you're a lot different than other drivers. Even when I drove, I had a short temper, and that's not something
No.
that affects you.
No.
okay, you always talking about winning races. You want over at Tri-State. Seems like a couple of times, and then come to Crawford and start off the back. That last one, you never touched the car,
hmm
and it was like you was on cruise control.
It's just
The only changes from Tri-State to Crawford was a gear
gear and put fuel in it.
and fuel. Wow.
That's just, I mean, I like it. If we can do more of that and be able to do that, I would personally, just because I like Crawford. It's kind of one of our home tracks, like
Right.
Tri-State. It's here, our backyard.
Right.
Why not go support it? But
Yep.
I mean, and like I said, we didn't touch no one, and I felt like we was really good. You just had to be patient and,
Exactly.
and then
Being patient's the big deal. That's the
and
big
pick your spot where you needed to pass someone
Right.
at and do it right.
You already have your adrenaline rush from being out racing already and winning, and then head back and do it again back to back.
Yeah.
That's good.
That has happened a couple times, and I've heard people say that Dale's 2 cars are so much alike that you claim that you bring the same car. But really, you go get the other car and bring it. It's already ready.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much people. I guess they're kind of
Gossip.
yeah,
all gossip.
kind of jealous and like kind of
Yeah.
awestruck too that you can do that with the same car. You just take
Yeah.
it to a track that's completely different and do the same
Right.
thing. We mentioned Dale a couple times. You're not driving your own car anymore. You're driving for Dale Richardson. So what's that like to be a full-time driver for someone else?
It's good. I never thought I would be, just because I don't want to drive someone else or tear someone else's stuff up,
Right.
because like it's expensive. We get it, but at the end of the day, I mean, he's a racer and he understands it and he wants to win.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's nice. I give it that, and we kind of bounce ideas off each other. At the end of the day, I mean, I can't complain. Just
Right. Well, he's got top of the line equipment too.
Yeah, and he does it. All his stuff's really nice. He keeps it clean, and I try to take care of it the best I can, clean it,
Right.
and make sure it stays at that
Keep
same
it
state.
that way. Yeah.
This is your new car sitting right here. Is it something? Are you going to be driving both cars, or are you just going to stick to driving Dells and have this if you need it?
Mainly stick to Dell's driving this, but this one I'm trying to get together just to have it there, just in case if I need it, if for something, or just to have like a play card, you know. But we'll see how things go.
I see you put the Monte Carlo back half on.
Yeah,
looks
I'm
cool.
the old school guy. I like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Monte Carlo and Malibus. I
Right.
tease my wife saying it's gonna be Brody's first car, but she don't like that idea.
I can't imagine. I mean, if he started when you started, you were 10.
Yeah.
If he started at 10 and he was driving something like this, that
That
might
would
be a
be
little too
wild.
much.
Yeah, it might be a lot, but we'll push like to 11.
Yeah.
But
So-
he's like, you know, like I said, he's very, for his age, he's very alert what's going on. He pays attention and he studies.
Right.
Even at the track, like he's
Oh,
a
I'm
very
watching
big
that.
help.
I've watched him at the track, and he's at the fence.
Yep.
I mean, he's concentrating on who's doing what and where
Yep.
they're at. And he's good at it.
I remember I didn't start racing full time until I was 30. And Dad, I could see him at the track and see how nervous he was and everything. And then my daughter started racing. She just raced a little bit, but she started at 9, and it drove me crazy. What is it like to stand by the fence and see your boys on the track?
It's nervous. I can't complain because, I mean, I got a picture sitting over there. He's 4 and barely still with steering wheel in a go kart trying to go on track, make laps, and make practice laps. But it's nervous. I mean, I get it like everybody else.
A little different with the go karts,
Yeah,
and he's out there racing with kids close to his age,
Yeah.
his age limit and
Mhm.
stuff. But you know, like with you racing, you were 11 racing a full size, full body car.
Yep.
With guys that were in their 30s and 40s.
yeah. And
There's
I've
big
been
difference
racing for
there.
a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
When you think back to times like that, do you think of any drivers that were racing back then that, like, I got to race with him? Do you ever think about stuff, anything like that?
I have. You know, I got, you know, Wade Blue. I mean, there's one of those names
Wow.
out there that,
Right.
I mean, you got to race against, and I got to race. My grandpa, my dad, you know, like Ricky Keith, he was there, Barry Peters. I mean, a lot of the old guys, Ken Esri, you know, Terry Muskrat, the Muskrat family, you know.
Muskrats, that's a great
Racing Terry, you know, that was one of them deals you kind of like, you're just, them guys you see back in the day that won a lot of races, and
Right.
family oriented
that you
racing.
have a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
And you got to race against them, but you told me a story before about the first time you won a Spooker and late model, and you beat Ken Esri.
Yeah, it was. We won the Spooker the second night because the first night we blew up, and then the second night we won it. And Ken come walking up there. I was even shaking my hand. He come up there and just gave me a hug. I'm like,
Wow.
congratulations, thank you. That kind of one of those deals of respect, you know,
Oh, yeah.
for his
Yeah.
type of who
Right.
he is.
That's a difference in generations, I guess.
Yeah,
Because now generations a little different.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them don't even work on their own cars.
Yeah.
You know, they just show up and race their cars. But now the generations on back. I don't know where the gap is.
Yeah.
But something happened.
yeah, there is. And, you know, and that's like, you know, when I grew up, you know, Dad, you know, Sunday mornings he'd get up, he'd cook us breakfast. And I can tell you, one weekend it'd be biscuits and gravy, and you have sausage, or biscuits and gravy and bacon.
Right.
We'd get done, we'd go down there, he'd take one truck, he'd get that truck, we'd car wash, go home. We would unload, do what we need to do, and go home, you know.
Right.
Start on the Sundays.
Yeah.
But he was always make sure you're working on it. It's your car, you're doing what you need to do.
Exactly.
Are your boys out here helping you now?
Yeah. They do, and that's and Brooks, you know, on his, because it's more of the racing type. He'll get out and work on it and do his tires and preps, and then
That's good.
they'll get out here and help me working on the cars and the bodies. I mean,
So we've mentioned a bunch of stuff about you fabricating. How did you get into doing the fabrication stuff?
it's just something I want to do since I was little. I used to draw pictures of cars just to have different cars and design, just as a little kid, just because I grew up around it.
Right.
It's what I
Oh, yeah.
wanted.
Yeah.
Were you drawing different body styles and stuff on cars back then?
Trying to somewhat, I guess you can say that.
So you're an artist too.
No, I ain't no artist.
Well, I think you are. Looking at this car sitting here, that's a form of art.
Yeah.
It's a good looking car.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to be racing at this year?
Mainly be Tri-State and Crawford. We may try Arrowhead you know, it's just a lot of it depends on like the boys because they're the sports and everything because the baseball and the traveling and
Right.
stuff.
Yep.
But we're gonna stay right here local.
That's good. Everybody likes the local people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of the local guys that'll venture out, and they're the wherever they go to, they're kind of the no name, you know.
Yeah.
But having a local guy that wins races means a lot.
It's not like that for Brandon. No matter where he goes, they know who he is.
Like I said, I like Tri-State, I like Crawford too, just where I grew up at. You know,
Right.
even that's where I grew up racing karts was on that track. But the people there, you know, like y'all, and there's a lot of people there you're friends with, and you know, I do work for. And some people I don't do work for. You still talk to. They're
Oh,
good,
yeah.
good people.
Exactly.
Speaking of Crawford County Speedway, their car show's coming up March 28th. Are you going to be there at that? Are you going to be there for the play day or anything?
No, we will be on a cruise that weekend, and we'll be back.
A cruise?
Yeah.
Let's go.
We will actually be coming back that day, but we have supposed to have a baseball tournament that we're going to try to come back and do on a Sunday there.
Speaking of, this video was supposed to be out a week ago, but we had technical difficulties. Then Dad went on a cruise.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm
yes.
ready to go again.
I'm not going until September, so you guys get to have all the fun before me. And you said you're going to race at Tri-State too. They're having their car show March 6th, 7th, and 8th at
Mhm.
Tri-State.
Mhm.
You're not going to have a car there either, right?
No.
And then the kegger is April 23rd to 25th.
Mhm.
You'll be racing on that.
We should be, and we'll probably go to Crawford's first couple races before Tri-State goes to go there and run with them.
I don't have a date here for Crawford.
3rd and 4th of April.
Okay.
April 3rd.
and 4th.
A little bit later than usual.
Yeah.
That.
Everybody's pushing back just because of the weather and rain, which we get. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
What about Arrowhead? They have the Stand On It Classic, which is 5,000 to win, March 20th and 21st. You'll be there for that? No.
Nope, we'll be going on the cruise.
Oh, yeah, same
yeah.
time. You leave
Cruise.
on the 20th.
They have their openers, which is next weekend, which I was going to try, but just some things has happened and it's not falling. I want to go to it, but I'm kind of I want to taking care of everybody else more than I kid my stuff.
Well, we're getting close to racing season. How many cars do you need to complete before the season starts?
Must be a big question.
Yeah. As of right now, there's probably 5 or 6.
That's not bad, then.
That's
We
not
can
bad.
kick that out in a week.
Yeah, we're it's pushing it, but
Heroes.
Oh.
Is there somebody I know I would say your grandpa,
Mhm.
but there's any other driver that you look up to that you can think of, even when you was younger?
Kind of
Awesome.
everyone, huh?
yeah, it's mainly everyone just because most of them guys back then had a lot of respect for
Oh, yeah.
each other, and
They
there's
did.
a list of them there. You just
Oh,
When
yeah.
we were
There's a
kids in
big
the
list.
90s, the track was full of just great drivers back then that we got to watch. That was a lot of
you
fun.
had, of course, my dad and grandpa and my uncle, and then you had the Snows. You had Mark Nobles, Bradley.
Oh, yeah, Steve Bradley.
Steve Bradley, and them guys, back in the day, Timmy Adams was one of the hot shoes back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
day.
You had Rodney Noble, too.
Yeah, Rodney.
Um,
Like Wade Blue was one.
Wade.
Terry was a pretty good shoe around there for everything.
yeah. Chuck Knight.
Chuck Knight, yeah.
So all these names you're mentioning, I don't know if you realize it, you are that guy for these younger
Young
kids that are
kids.
racing. You say Wade Ballou, they say Brandon Hunter. What's that like? You're the guy now.
I don't really put myself in that same category just because of them guys. I feel like there's a lot. I mean, the competition's stiff now, but it's more of a money Money
It's a
game.
money game.
then more like back then that day there it was you pull a car out of the salvage yard, you put a cage in there, and you was
You
the
go
driver.
race.
You drove the car.
Right.
It wasn't come out here and buy these shocks or buy these springs and do whatever and go
I
on.
remember those guys even building their own wheels. I'm sure your grandpa used to cut the centers out,
Yeah.
push
Yeah.
them in, push them out,
You
re-weld them.
you say that they were all on more of a level playing field,
Yep.
Right.
but you're on a level playing field with a lot of guys,
Yeah.
and you're beating them.
But it's funny too, though. We talked about that is back in the day, and some of it today, like Grandpa, some of the stuff the stories, that them guys were doing back then, was what is everybody's doing now.
Yeah, they
It's
went back to
it's back to what it was, but they were doing it back then on a lower, cheaper budget. The same
Exactly.
stuff. It's pretty crazy.
I've heard Dad tell stories about someone using, I think it was a swing set or something
For a roll cage.
for a roll cage.
A swing set for a roll cage. I've seen it all.
Well, it's just
Bedstead.
You know, there's back we was at Batesville one year. I was a little kid, you know. I was probably 12, 14, somewhere in there. Then when Dad had the Camaro there, and he was struggling or something, Grandpa took a 2x4. He's sitting there. He took a 2x4 with a pocket knife, whittled on it for a little while. Whittled. I'm like, what is he doing? Stuck in the right front, kind of like the guys use for bump
Oh,
stock.
yeah,
And
yeah.
stiffened the spring up at the track. And Dad went out there and ran second. And he made the show and come off back day. And then
With a
something
2x4.
happened. 2x4 in the right front for a spring.
Now, was it your dad that used to take one of the rear shocks off?
Yep, it was actually that Camaro. He took the rear shock off and got faster. So
I remember him telling me about
the old leaf spring car.
Yep.
That car was my first Grand National car.
that. Really?
That I pretty much cleaned Grandpa out in the salvage yard because I hit the wall probably 8 or 9 nights in a row out of the right fronts. Back when I went from 4-cylinder to V8.
No more Camaro parts
Yeah,
under salvage.
I took them out.
You two ever race against each other?
Probably.
Probably so.
You don't remember? a
I probably
specific
spun
time
out
or
in front of him, but
Helen asked me, she was kind of joking on the way here, if we gave you two the exact same car, same setup. She wanted me to ask who would win.
he
But
would
my
win and I'd
question-
spin out.
My question is, how much would Brandon beat you by?
Oh,
I don't mean that disrespectful, but how much would he beat you
I
by?
don't know. Probably quite a bit. I'm 20, 30 years older than him.
We have
Well,
another,
that ain't an excuse, is it?
we have another guest.
Yeah. The shot cat.
How can people find you to get work done on the cars?
They can look me up at Hunter Motorsports on our Facebook page, or they can get in touch with me, or message my wife, or ask someone around. I'm sure someone's got my phone number,
Oh,
or just look, just ask around, or just messages.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth
Always.
is the biggest
Goes a
one.
long ways.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
Load them up. Let's get it.